And since we're going to live.
Yes, good, on we go.
Before we can get back to contributing to the inescapable obligation of exposing how disgustingly despicable our illegitimate 47 and its illegitimate administration, along with every fascist-inclined creature thing soiling what would otherwise be these great United States of America, we must take time to acknowledge truly great folks who departed this world in 2025. Remembering those who lived to tell truth and challenge power. Rob Reiner, fearless voice for social justice, equal rights, and outspoken critic of authoritarianism. He made us laugh and think. His son Nick killed him and his wife Michelle in their Los Angeles home. He spent decades campaigning for same-sex marriage, civil rights, and relentless opposition to authoritarian leaders. According to the 2024 National Survey on Drug Use and Health, about 12 million adults in these would-be great United States had both a mental illness and a substance use disorder in the past year. We don't know it was the cause of their deaths, but facts are facts. In 2025, Trump policies terminated about 160 million in pandemic-era grants for public health, mental health, and substance use disorder programs, part of a larger nationwide rollback affecting nearly 11 billion in federal health grants. Tatiana Schlossberg, bold environmental journalist and climate justice advocate. She died after battling a rare and aggressive form of acute myeloid leukemia. In her last published essay, she openly criticized health policy leadership, if you can call her grandfather, RFK Jr., leadership, for cutting cancer research funding and defunding science. In 2025, over 600,000 folks died from cancer in these would-be great United States. According to 2025, reporting on federal research activity, there was a 24% drop in cancer research funding alone, compared with prior years, from the National Institutes of Health. In 2025, Trump policies helped drastically shrink resources available for cancer research, early detection, and treatment development. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, fierce artist, storyteller, and community voice. He is known for roles that reflect Black life and resilience. He died in a suspicious water-related incident, suspicious given his intent to speak out on powerful interests and systemic issues. According to the most recent national homicide statistics, Black Americans, especially Black men, continue to experience dramatically higher rates of violent victimization than their share of the U.S. population, more than 8 times the rate for white Americans.
That's messed up.
In 2025, the Trump administration issued a series of executive orders and policy shifts that weakened federal civil rights enforcement tools and reshaped policing priorities to harm Black communities. One such action was the rollback of disparate impact standards, a key mechanism used to challenge policies that, while seemingly neutral, disproportionately hurt people of color in housing, employment, education, and criminal justice.
Now, again, for any American, I think, other than Trump himself, like negative talk about Donald Trump posts on social media is the most mundane thing imaginable. The fact of the matter is he's polarizing and he is unpopular. Those two things are true about him. More people dislike him than like him.
Back to illegitimate 47's fascist deeds. At the same time as those illegal, unlawful, unconstitutional executive orders and policy shifts, federal deployments of law enforcement and National Guard units into predominantly Black cities under the pretext of combating crime occurred even as local crime statistics showed declines. These policy choices, coupled with rhetoric and administrative shifts that deprioritized accountability for police misconduct, amplify disparities in public safety outcomes and trust between Black communities and law enforcement. Oh, looky here. Enter karma. Its God King fascist dictator, wannabe punk ass, had to cancel deployments of the National Guard. Gene Hackman, titan of cinema, whose late life underscores poverty's quiet toll. He died from hypertensive and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, with advanced Alzheimer's disease as a contributing factor. His work often explored moral ambiguity and the human condition. He reportedly died after likely spending days alone in his home, following the death of his wife Betsy, surrounded by deteriorated conditions. His passing is a reminder that society's neglect of elders, artists, and storytellers is a political failure, not just a personal tragedy. In 2025, as policymakers in Washington debated cuts to elder support programs and failed to expand long-term care infrastructure, including limited funding for community-based caregiving and social support services. Families across the country lived the consequences. Lack of robust home and community-based care, insufficient caregiver support, and gaps in healthcare coverage leave many older adults isolated when they need monitoring and connection the most. Some may argue Trump-era policies didn't cause Hackman's death directly, but they worsened the structural conditions that make deaths in isolation, with inadequate support, more likely among seniors. Thank you for what you did for us. Rest in peace, Gene Hackman, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, Tatiana Schlossberg, Rob Reiner, and Pope Francis, Robert Redford, Diane Keaton, Roberta Flack, Sly Stone, Jane Goodall, Charles Rangel, Brian Wilson, Nita Lowy, Kitty Dukakis, Gerald Connolly, Cecile Richards, Andrea Gibson, Cora Weiss, Christine Choi, Peter Yarrow, Connie Francis, Pat Finn, Loretta Swit, Ruth Buzzy, Carolyn McCarthy, Bill Moyers. Honorary shout-out to Dick Cheney, who crossed over toward the end to speak truth against dirty diaper Trump. And rest in peace, everyone, every everyday person who has left us before their time as a result of the system. We are Podcast Patriot. Please subscribe.